Since Elizabeth Holmes and Theranos, a well-known CEO, hadn't had such a bad fallout, FTX affected many parts of American life. Sam Bankman-Fried, the CEO of FTX, speaks at a hearing before the House Financial Services Committee on December 8, 2021, in Washington, D.C., at the Rayburn House office building on Capitol Hill. If you had asked someone in the cryptocurrency community on January 1, 2022, what the biggest seismic event of the year would be, they would have probably said how long the crypto winter would last or that Ethereum would merge, which was a big deal at the time but hasn't changed much so far. The second largest and one of the most reputable cryptocurrency exchanges in the world will buy several insolvent cryptocurrency companies in the spring, only to find itself insolvent in November after serious allegations of embezzlement against its founder and CEO. Sam Bankman-Fried, FTX, Elizabeth Holmes, and Theranos may have had the worst business failures. Even Holmes's final downfall took months of investigation and prosecution before the business went away. FTX, on the other hand, fell apart in just a few days, almost entirely because of a single news story and a few skeptical tweets. Even if Holmes had her own high-powered board of directors and respected investors, they couldn't compare to what FTX and Bankman-Fried planned to do quickly to change American life, finances, and public policy. Consider this, but before that, don't forget to subscribe. In 2020, Bankman-Fried gave $5.2 million to two super PACs so they could help Joe Biden win the presidency. In June 2021, FTX paid $135 million for the right to name the Miami Heat's home arena for 19 years. The same month, FTX paid $210 million to sponsor the esports team TSM. In July 2021, during the All-Star Game for Major League Baseball, umpires wore FTX logos on their uniforms for the first time. This was done through the 2022 season. Maxine Waters was in charge of the House Financial Services Committee meeting on December 8, 2021, when Bankman-Fried spoke. The meeting was mostly friendly. He told the committee that a year and a half after it started, FTX was handling $15 billion in cryptocurrency transactions every day, which is 10% of all the cryptocurrency traded worldwide. Bankman-Fried told the committee that FTX strongly supports a regulated framework for the trading of digital assets that protect investors and delivers on the hallmarks of orderly markets. This is in contrast to some very anti-government figures in the cryptocurrency industry. In January 2022, FTX will announce a new $400 million round of funding. This will value the company at $32 billion. In February 2022, Larry David was in a Super Bowl ad for FTX and several other cryptocurrency and fintech companies. At the beginning of 2022, FTX and Bankman-Fried gave a lot more money to American political campaigns, mostly federal ones. Protect Our Future, a super PAC that Bankman-Fried and another co-founder of FTX funded, spent a total of $28 million on congressional candidates, including $11 million on Carrick Flynn, a Democratic primary candidate in Oregon who lost by a 2-to-1 margin. Another super PAC linked to FTX, GMI PAC, raised millions of dollars but, according to the Open Secrets website, never used any of that money to help with elections. In May, FTX bought 56 million shares of Robinhood. This gave it a 7.6% stake in the trading platform, which has a lot of problems. After the Terra, Luna stablecoin system failed in May, several cryptocurrency companies said they would lay off workers and limit or close accounts. As a sort of rescuer, FTX stepped in and gave BlockFi a $250 million line of credit and paid $1.42 billion for the assets of the now-defunct cryptocurrency lender Voyager. In June, Bankman-Fried became well known as one of the main investors in Samava, the much-anticipated media company that Ben Smith and Justin Smith started in October. What was wrong with FTX's business, and why didn't its investors and partners, who should have known better, notice it? These are the two most important ones that need answers right away. How bad will FTX's bankruptcy be for the markets, given how it is linked to them? The biggest problem with how FTX worked seems to be that it was too close to Bankman-Fried's other business, Alameda Research, a brokerage firm he started in 2017, 2 years before FTX. It could take months or even years to find out everything. Since FTT was a native token of FTX, its owners didn't have to pay trading fees on the FTX platform. But it turned out that Alameda had too many of its assets in the FTT token. FTT was Alameda's biggest holding on its $14.6 billion balance sheet, according to a report by CoinDesk that came out on November 2. This will be the biggest crypto scoop of the year, for sure. The effects of this happened very quickly. On November 6, the CEO of FTX competitor Binance, Changpeng Zhao, tweeted that his company was getting rid of any FTT on its books. For a few days, it looked like Binance was going to buy FTX. But after a round of research, Binance backed out of its letter of intent, and FTX filed for bankruptcy. Bankman-Fried quit after tweeting a lot of sorry and sheepish things. Since then, hundreds of millions of dollars worth of FTX have been lost from wallets. John Ray, the new CEO of FTX, said on Saturday, November 12, that the company had been hacked and was working with law enforcement. Crypto on Twitter, people were skeptical and made fun of the news, and there have been many reports of staff leaving and theft. How bad will the consequences be? Is this the Lehman moment for crypto? This was the question that G0's newsletter Signal asked on Friday. The answer may depend on how you define a Lehman moment. The damage is bad and will likely last a long time for people and businesses directly linked to FTX. For example, here is how the Robinhood stock has done over the last 5 days compared to the Nasdaq as a whole. BlockFi has also said there will be no more withdrawals until further notice. A source who spoke to Bloomberg said, BlockFi is no longer sure about the funding for its credit line with FTX US and the collateral for the Alameda loans, citing concerns that it could have come from customer funds. Since FTX will no longer give it money, Voyager will have to start over with its bankruptcy bidding. Soon, the FTX Arena in Miami will have a new name, and by spring training, the FTX logo will no longer be on the umpires' uniforms. The future of cryptocurrency as a whole also looks pretty bad right now. In the last week, $3 billion worth of Bitcoin has been taken off exchanges, and the price of Bitcoin is now at its lowest level in 2 years. The UK branch of Banco Santander has put pretty strict limits on how much its customers can spend on cryptocurrency exchanges. You can be sure that other exchanges will lose money because investors are scared or doing something else to limit their spending. Even though Coinbase's stock hasn't dropped as much as Robinhood's, it's still worth less than a third of what it was a year ago. This week, Crypto.com was forced to say that 20% of its reserves are held in a meme token called SHIB. This made a lot of people take notice. People who think a Lehman moment means something that will start a long recession are probably exaggerating. Since last year, the cryptocurrency industry has shrunk. However, it is still mostly separate from the rest of the global economy. If one or more large countries go into recession soon, there will be more general macroeconomic reasons. Still, the FTX bankruptcy is the biggest crypto scandal up to this point, and it's not over yet.